This film also had the creepiest Santa. And you could,
oh my god,
yeah!
We need to find the fourth dimension, and by finding all these tiny little perfect things that happen in our neighborhood or in our town or whatever, we're gonna find the fourth dimension, and we're missing one. I'll pick Andrew Garfield. Peter 3.
Peter 3.
Ooh, that comic book filter.
This green ball?
This green tennis ball is Vecna, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. We're talking about Chippendales the dancers, right? Not Chippendales the chipmunks? Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, what you get. Yeah, that is all that you get. But heaven knows I've tried. Boom.
Oi!
Hello, cinema peeps.
Hey, cinema peeps.
I feel like we need our own chant. Like Roy Kent.
Oh my
like
god,
Jamie
yes.
Tart. We need our own little chant.
Every time they do it on the show, I'm like, yeah!
I know. It's so hype. It's such a genius idea that we need to do it.
We do, yep.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure out what it is.
We'll figure one out, and then we'll rehearse it, and we'll perform it on the next episode.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, it's interesting. It definitely creates a good team morale and obviously deepens a connection with fans. I think it's a good idea.
Yep.
Ugh. Feels so weird because last week we were just talking about the series end of Flash, and now we're talking about the series ending of Ted Lasso.
Yeah. That's
summer of ending.
Yeah, a lot of great shows are coming to an end. And I don't want it to end, but we're going to discuss all of because I feel like we were like halfway through the series or the season when we did our last episode.
I think a little less, yeah, or a little more. Yeah, a little more, but yeah,
a little more. Okay.
At least the title was like 4 episodes left, so.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this will be the last and final, potentially, Ted Lasso episode that we do to discuss the show, because it's come to an end now.
So sad.
So sad. All right, well, I guess first impressions of everything. What did you think? Or do we want to do that and then get the ball rolling to dive into it, or do you have anything specific you want to start talking about?
Just that I'm apparently a very vindictive, evil person, and Ted Lasso's too kind.
Literally, you and me.
Like, literally, this entire time, I was like, Nate's gonna get his comeuppance, and really, he didn't really get any comeuppance, you know?
I mean, if there was any comeuppance he did get, he brought it upon himself, or at least he did it to himself.
I guess, but it's because he did the right thing.
Yeah.
By, like, not going for Rupert's bullshit, and then Rupert got him fired. And then, instead of taking the low road, Nate took the high road. Mm-hmm. And then Coach Beard has that very intense speech with him about forgiveness. And I was like, God damn it.
Which, I mean, it was all still really well done, and in true Ted Lasso spirit, because I've said this from the beginning, every time you think you know what they're going to do with the story, they completely do something different, still in a good way. But, you know, like, yeah, you were saying, you're like, I want him to crush Rupert. I want him to get his comeuppance. I want Nate to get his, like, just desserts and stuff. And
I mean, Rupert did. He got crushed.
Rupert most definitely did.
Fuck yeah. But I was really hoping Nate would too. But instead, everyone's so nice. And I'm like, oh my God. But then I realized I'm just sassy. The character Sassy.
Yeah.
She's like, I hope you die, Rupert. And I'm like, hell yeah. And then when everyone was booing him out of the stadium, you know, I will say, like, I'm proud of Rebecca, you know? She had her full kind of, like, story arc of, you know, she wanted to destroy Rupert. It consumed her life, but then she realized through love and friendship that she doesn't have to be this way, and she has a family. And, you know, she's become a better person, and good for her. But I was definitely sassy when they were like, ha-ha, fuck you, Rupert! But instead, you know, she forgives Rupert for whatever reason, because she's a good person, I guess.
Because it's very healing for the soul to be able to do those kinds of things.
This is true. It's true. And I just want to sit in my evilness. So it's good that Ted Lasso can teach me compassion.
Yes. Yes. It is a very, very good show for that, especially for a lot of people, is teaching those kinds of lessons that if you're not aware of them, to be aware of them, or just a nice reminder sometimes, because you know we live in a world that's a little nasty sometimes, and sometimes people need a reminder.
With all the Ruperts in the world, try to be a Ted.
Yes, most definitely. You could be a Roy, because Roy's still kind-hearted, but he kind of takes a little bit more of the aggressive approach, which sometimes people need. So I mean, not everybody has to be a Ted. There's a good roster of people to choose from on Ted's side there.
Oh, yeah.
You could be a Keeley, you could be a Beard, you could be a Nate, you could be a Rebecca, whichever one.
All very fantastic people.
Yeah.
But overall impressions, I don't know. I thought it was a solid finale.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I got everything I wanted out of it.
Yes.
And it was good. I feel really lucky that we did just happen to rewatch like the first 5 episodes of season 1, because there was a lot of callbacks from like early season 1, but like done in a slightly different way, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it opens with Ted walking out of his flat, and then he's talking to that lady about how she had a very exciting night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same old lady who was bidding at the auction in season 1. So I felt very lucky that we went back and got a couple of those Easter eggs. Made me appreciate it even more.
Right?
But God, that opening with fucking Rebecca and Ted, I literally was next to my mom and I was like, no.
I know. I was like, wait a second. No. What?
Because it ended with like, I have a truth bomb to drop on you. And then next thing you know, she's in her kitchen and wearing her fine, robe. And then there's Ted. And I was like, oh my God, they fucked. No. And then Beard walked in and I was like, okay, yeah. Whoo.
Yeah.
No, that did not happen. Woo.
I mean, there were times there where I wondered if they were ever going to do something with Rebecca and Ted.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like with the way everything was going, it just didn't feel right. So when that happened, I was like, wait a second. Did I miss something here? Like, was this the plan all along? But
right.
Yeah, no, right at the end of the second last episode when he said, I've got a truth bomb to drop on you, and then they cut, I knew immediately. I was like, he's going to tell them that, or he's going to tell her that he's leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess that also kind of gives Ted his full circle of his story, too. You know, he started with coming out here because, his, at the time, wife was like, hey, I need space. So he went really far away to give her some space, but then realized he wanted to go back home for Henry.
Yep.
And that, life's okay. That it was more important to, continue to bond with Henry than be fixated on this weird idea of happiness that he once had. Exactly,
yeah. And I mean, who knows? I guess that's left up to the imagination of the viewer, but they did kind of show a little bit of it seemed like Henry and Ted's ex-wife are resenting the new boyfriend. He seems to
every time they fucking cut to him, I was like, no, get the fuck out of here. And he's like thought he was so fucking smug making all those comments. I was like, okay, listen up, homeboy. You were their family therapist and now you're dating a patient, essentially. Like, I think you should be shutting your mouth because you could be in so much trouble, sir. Okay? So let's just shut the yap, okay? Shut your little yap hole, okay? Shut up. Just shut up. I hate him. I hate him so much. I hate him so much.
So, I mean, yeah, like, obviously that, like I said, that's left up to the imagination of the viewers. But it did kind of seem like maybe there was a chance for Ted and her to rekindle their relationship coming back. Who knows, right?
Maybe. Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, frick, like, just the story arc for a lot of the whole, like Jamie kind of redeeming himself was awesome. Like, he's still him, but, like, at least he's not such a dick this time, and at least he kind of we saw a little bit of him, maybe, what's the word I'm looking for, like getting in touch with his dad again, and kind of maybe like trying to forgive him and find a better relationship with his dad and stuff like that, which is awesome. Kudos to Keely for choosing herself over two men.
That was so fun. I knew when she was like, wow, the choice is mine. I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. And then cut to the door. I was like, yeah, fucking great. And then just both of them were fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots. It was nice because, like, at that point where they're, Roy and Jamie are fighting at the bar, I was like, oh, I really hope, like, because they've, like, bonded. You know, and, like, they've both grown up so much, so it was, like, it would really suck if, like, this weird linchpin of like, who's gonna date Keely would, like, ruin that.
Yeah.
But this way, like you said, Keely gets to pick herself, and she gets to continue to grow, and the guys still get to, you know, have their relationship.
Yeah.
And all three of them get to be best buds.
Right?
Or,
I mean...
who knows? Maybe they pick polygamy, you know? Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, exactly. In the end, as much as you know, if you're Team Roy or Team Jamie, whatever, like, in the end, I'm really happy with how all the endings turned out for, like, not even just that, like, for everybody. Everybody's endings turned out in a really, really good way. And same with Nate. I'm glad that Nate was able to find love, and he kind of, you know, was able to, what's the word I'm looking for? He, you know, found himself again. He kind of came back to who he was initially, and, you know, didn't let Rupert taint him too much, I guess. Yeah.
Because Rupert is a dick.
Yeah.
What was my thought? Speaking of, like, characters, so I didn't know this, but apparently, because my dad was watching TV, and they were talking about this Swedish soccer player that was retiring, and my dad's like, he looks a lot like Zava. And so my mom's like, huh, so she Googled him, and I guess Zava is based on that player. Now,
is he?
I wish I knew the player's name, but my parents both were like, we don't remember his name, so... I apologize. If I can figure it out, I will let everybody know, but...
Well, I've always wondered, because they do say in the credits at the beginning of the show that it's based on NBC characters for NBC Sports and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's originally where Ted Lasso started off, was, like, skits.
Yeah.
Over in the States.
Right,
and then,
right.
Yeah, they were just lucky enough that they finally got a full-fledged show. Because I guess they've been working on it for, like, 10 years or something crazy.
Yeah, which is,
At least that's what Coach Beard, because he's a writer for the show as well, had said in an interview. And then the guy who, Football is Life, I guess he's also based on another footballer as well.
Oh, really?
Which is pretty crazy.
Nice.
So it'd be interesting to see if there's, like, other characters that are, you know, that they're trying to, like, be similar to.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think, like, Ted Lasso is such a solid series, like, overall. If I want to get to, like, real nitpicky stuff, like, the psychic storyline, I'll still stand as, like, kind of a waste of my time. So dumb.
I mean, but it did, in a way, kind of, like, push Rebecca to kind of, like, not out of her comfort, maybe out of her comfort zone, but it just, I don't know, it kind of, like, pushed her to go to those lengths, I guess, because she was so set in her ways, and so the whole kind of pressuring her with the psychic, and the psychic kind of, like, giving her, like, planting the seed in her head a little bit about certain things, kind of made her explore those areas, I guess, for the story.
I just like how she was having lunch with her mom, and she goes, tell your psychic she's absolute crap, and I was like, that's what I like. What I like to hear.
Yeah.
Or that, you know, because, like, her mom was so fixated, like, she goes, oh, she helps me with all this stuff, and that Rebecca realized that she is in charge of her own destiny, that she doesn't have to listen to these things.
Yep.
I just wish she'd had to bring a psychic into it, but, you know, here we are. Here we are.
Yeah.
I will say I was a little sad that the therapist wasn't, like, as present this season. Like, she was there for the first and last episode, which was nice. I liked when they cut to her and she was, like, watching the game.
Yeah,
that was really cute.
That was cute. Yeah.
But yeah, I wish she was around again. But, you know, what was my thought? I didn't look up her IMDb or anything, so she was working on another project maybe at the time, or
yeah, who knows?
Maybe just the story-wise, there wasn't a spot for her, which is just very rude. Very rude. Although,
I mean, she definitely did do a good amount for everybody in the second season that kind of helped them kind of, like, you know, it was like, okay, now it's your turn. Go out into the world and take the
Yeah.
teachings I've given you and apply them.
Although I did enjoy meeting Jamie's mom. That was wild.
Yeah.
And just Roy just kept looking like, fuck. And she's like coddling him, and he's just like,
He's like, can I have a hug?
yeah. And they're like, no, no.
Yeah.
And then fucking at Jamie's room where he has a poster of Roy Kent and then Keeley on the same wall.
Mhm.
He has like this mullet looking thing. Oh my god.
So funny.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
I was like, and again, call back from season 1 because he's like, I think he said he used to have a poster of him on his wall, but nope, he always had that and he hasn't taken it down.
Yeah, it hasn't been taken down. Yeah.
Such a weenie. But I mean, that was season 1 Jamie, so he was being a dick, so he probably just wanted to be like, oh, I don't want to admit that because that would be uncool. And
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Jamie fucking Tart.
Yeah. And I love that
big
finally Roy decided to become a diamond dog in the end.
Everyone's
He's
just
like,
woofing
can I
around.
be a diamond dog? And they're all like, well, yes, yes.
The excitement from everyone.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I think Roy is probably one of my favorite characters on the show.
Oh, definitely. And it's funny too because Brett Goldstein he's a writer on the show, and like he was saying in an interview as he was writing and reading all the scripts and stuff, he in his head he's going, I think I'm Roy Kent, but I'm not 100% sure. And so he like auditioned, like he filmed himself, saying the lines and stuff, and then he sent it to his colleagues and was like, here, try this. If it doesn't work, let's never speak of it again. But if it does, like, great. And I guess they loved him. And yeah, honestly, now that you see it, like, I couldn't imagine anybody else being Roy Kent. He
No.
played it beautifully.
I think I heard that same interview too. I thought that was very funny. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people who acted on the show were also writers.
Mm-hmm.
Again, see how important writers are?
Exactly. Hint, hint.
Wink, 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 nudge,
yep.
nudge. I liked when Coach Beard showed them that video, and then they cut back to the field, and he's like, "Oh, Coach, I think I made a mistake," and everyone's just bawling, and everyone's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And they're all crying.
They're all crying, yeah.
I don't want to be that bitch, but the green screening on that I was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was
But
a
in
little janky.
all fairness, though, it's easy to criticize, but that was a moving camera shot.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, when you do something like that, you're changing the perspective,
Yeah.
in a way. I mean, they were lucky they pretty much did it straight across, but still, then the scene behind you has to, like, move as, like I said, it's very easy to be like, wow, I fucking see that. But,
Yeah.
like, the reality is, it is very difficult. And really, it was just, like, some masking issues. Because, like, I especially saw it around, like, Jamie's hair.
Around the hairline, yeah.
But, I mean, like, otherwise, like, it's not awful. But, yeah, the masking was, like, a little...
And I mean, you and I noticed that because we're editors and we went to film school. So we were trained to see that stuff and recognize that stuff. But to anybody else, they probably didn't even think anything of it, right?
Yeah, I don't think my parents, my brother noticed, although Ian might have been asleep. I don't remember. But yeah, I think actually a lot more of the soccer scenes are CG than I think they are.
I
which
was wondering
is
that.
amazing.
Because, yeah, like, there's something about it that to me feels like it could be almost like, the technology they use for The Mandalorian, where it's like a big screen behind them.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. I've always wondered that because it feels and looks just that slightest bit different than like being a shot real practically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into it, but yeah, I think quite a lot. Because what did I see a clip of? Oh, it was them practicing when they did the Backstreet Boys Bye 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 dance.
Oh yeah.
And it was all against blue screen. And I was like, I was like trying to think of the scene too, and I was like, what?
Really?
I mean, maybe it was possible. Maybe they were just practicing there. But then it seemed weird to me that you would practice in a large blue room.
Well, I definitely...
Like, why not at anywhere else, what I mean?
Yeah. I definitely know that, I mean, I'd be shocked if it wasn't, but you can tell, like, in Rebecca's office, the windows, like, that has to be green screen.
Oh, Oh, yeah. Or as we learned from going on the set of Arrow, they just have giant pictures that they just,
Yeah.
you know, pull down, which
Project
is
in the back to look like...
wild.
Yeah, which is so cool. Yeah.
Wild.
And now every time I watch Arrow and Flash, I'm just like, that's not real.
Right, but I mean, from a practical standpoint, it makes sense. You have more
yeah.
control over it. There's not a risk of, say, like a nudist flying in or something, you know, ruining the shot.
Bird hitting the window. The sun's not going down fast.
Could you imagine an emotional scene and then a bird just shits all over the window? Just...
Yeah.
So, like, from a practical standpoint, it makes sense, but it's still fun to see. You're like, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Especially because she's got some nice views from her office,
yeah, definitely.
So 100% makes sense.
Yeah. And I thought it was a cool idea, too, at the end when Keeley comes to Rebecca and pitches the women's league to her.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute. And then I'm like, spin-off, maybe?
Spin. To be fair, I saw an article where they were talking about potentially how maybe, like, they were like, oh, Rebecca's story might not be done, but I hadn't caught up, so I wasn't going to read it. So
yeah,
maybe they were also hinting at that fact, you know?
Interesting.
But again, I don't know. I mean, obviously I would love it to.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's up to them. It's really, at the end of the day, up to them.
Up to them what they want to do, yep.
Right. But I will, like, again, to the point of, like, Rebecca, you know, and Keeley, like, starting the women's league, it was nice to see, because at that point where she was talking to Ted, where Ted was like, oh, I'm going to leave. And she was like, well, I might just sell off the club.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very conflicted, because I was like, on one hand, I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense, because the whole idea of her buying Rupert out was to fuck him over.
Yeah.
But now that she's kind of reached full circle, she's like, I don't know what my purpose with the club, you know, is now at this point. Even though she's like, yeah, I have, like, family, but it's like, is this something I want to do?
Yeah.
And so her kind of coming to that decision where she's like, well, we'll open up shares so that fans can have it, you know, because she made that wonderful speech with all the old men in the room, which ended in a giant food fight.
Yep, which was awesome.
Which was wild. But then her ultimately being like, you know what? Like, yeah, I'm my own person, and I've come to really love and enjoy being here. So I'm going to make it work for me now.
Hell yeah.
Like, what a badass bitch.
Right? She's so inspiring.
Right? Everybody on that show, except for Rupert. He can die. And the therapist. He can die too. Harsh words, I know. But, like, watch the show. They deserve it.
You mean the ex-wife's boyfriend therapist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not our favorite therapist.
Yeah, not our favorite therapist.
But yeah, I'm really gonna miss the show. It's
too.
Weird. Like, the contrast from, like, Flash of being around for, like, 9 seasons.
Yeah.
And I obviously, like, when you guys are watching this, that episode has just been aired and I just finished editing it. So it's so funny to see, like, you know, contrasting thoughts of, like, you know, like, we're happy it was over, you know, we knew it was, you know, the Flash's time, and yet now on this we're kind of like, oh man, I wish it could be around forever.
Yeah.
There never seems to be, like, this sweet middle ground where you're like, perfect, we end on a high note and everything is great.
Right. I guess that's the difference between, you know, a show that tries to experiment and take inspiration from, like, you know, with the comics and stuff like that. They're drawing from different things and telling different stories. And they try to stick to, like, one main one as they go, but sometimes it gets a little lost. Whereas this one, you know, it's got everything, even though each character has their own kind of subplots and sub-stories and you focus on them every other time too, in the end they all still connect together and still kind of all completes in full circle, right?
Yeah. And they all kind of had, like, similar journeys of, like, self-growth.
Yeah.
That's kind of, like, the arching theme, so it just kind of works.
Yeah, exactly.
To, like, you know, different degrees, whether, again, going back to season 1 where, you know, Roy Kent has to, where Ted doesn't trick him, but kind of goes like, hey, look, like, you, like, the boys look up to you, you need to kind of step up and take a leadership role. And he reads The Wrinkle in Time, and he's sitting in bed with his niece and just goes, fuck. That's a bad word, Uncle Roy. Ah, shove it. So fucking good.
So good. I'm curious too. I'll have to do some research to find out if they took any inspiration from a classic film from the 60s called To Sir with Love. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Don't think so.
It's a classic film. It stars Sidney Poitier, and it's about. I mean, at the time, obviously, there was the racial divide and stuff like that. So the show is about this African American man who comes to England to teach at a school. And the school, I'm not sure if it's specifically a school for delinquents or if just like the class is just a bunch of delinquents and stuff like that. And so it's kind of it's very similar in the kind of way they did with Ted Lasso, where they bring this guy in and he's very he's very gentlemanly, very respectful and stuff like that. And so he has a way of doing things, and he basically takes this class of delinquent kids and classes them up not in like a bad way, but like he teaches them how to be gentlemen and ladies, right? Like he's just teaching them how to go out into the world and be respectful to people, and how you can actually dress yourself up nice or behave in a way that's going to get you a job, or what, like help you function in society, essentially, right? And so they all start at the beginning like really disliking him and poking fun at him and threatening him all the time and stuff like that. And then finally he stands up for some of the kids, and he tries to reach out and understand them and stuff like that, and they all end up really liking him, similar to Ted Lasso. And they all kind of just become more mature and more respectful, and it's a really sweet story. So I'm curious to know if they took any inspiration from that.
I mean, you describing it does sound very possible.
Right?
Or just a humongous quinky dink.
Yeah, who knows?
I doubt that, but...
I mean, it's a classic film, so who knows, right?
Right. How should we end this? Do we want to say our favorite moment from the show, or favorite character, maybe, to wrap it up?
Sure.
Too much pressure?
Let's try it.
Too much pressure? Well, I think Roy Kent is my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a hard tie. I really like Rebecca and Keeley as a combo, but I think Roy Kent just always makes me laugh.
Oh, definitely.
Every time he delivers his lines, always a hoot.
Definitely.
And then speaking of that, I think one of my favorite moments was from season 2, where he becomes part of like the sports announcers.
Yeah.
And there was that fucking coach that Rebecca fired in the first season.
Yeah.
And he's talking, he's like, oh, Richmond are playing like a bunch of women or something. He makes some stupid like comment, and then Roy just looks at him and goes, didn't you get in trouble for drinking and now you have to take pills because now you pissed yourself? And he's like, no. God, every time he was on that newscast, I was laughing so hard.
Yeah, that was good.
And then I think he was filming one and he was like, fuck. And he like walks all the way to Richmond, and he goes, I'll help coach or whatever. And then Ted's like, yay. I think that was probably one of my favorite.
Nice. Yeah, that was good.
Moments from the show.
Nice.
Now it's your turn.
Okay. I think it's hard to just pick just one character, but I'd say that the top 3 that stand out to me would be Roy, Rebecca, and Ted. Ted, because I just relate to him so much. I feel like he's my spirit animal. And Rebecca, because I aspire to be like her. I really admire how she carries herself, and I think like her whole arc through the show just really was amazing to watch and really well done. And then Roy, for the same reasons. I mean, everything that comes out of his mouth, any situation he's in, is just hilarious, and paired with all the other characters too, it's so funny. And I'd say favorite moments, my absolute favorite moment on the show is the part when Ted is facing Rupert off in the darts game, and he makes that beautiful speech about be curious, not judgmental. That just like resonated with me so much, and I just thought that was very well done, and he executed that so well, and yeah, that's stayed with me ever since I saw it. But I will say, too, I do enjoy the Blue Moon episodes, too. I noticed it wasn't, like, fully about the Blue Moon this last time, but they did show, like, there was a scene where they were running down the alley. I think it was Keeley and Yeah, Keely and Roy were like following
Yeah.
Jamie down the alley and the blue moon was up in the sky. I was like, uh-oh, what's gonna happen? So I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, that speech was pretty epic at the bar.
Oh yeah, I love
Very
that.
epic. I just thought of it right now because I saw a clip recently on Instagram that from the new season where Rebecca was like, "Roy Kent, get your hairy ass into my office now!"
Yeah.
And then kind of guys are kind of laughing a little bit, and then Roy turns and kind of like you said, you don't know what's gonna happen, and then all that comes out of his mouth is, "None of you know I have a hairy ass, and yet none of you stood up for me. I will not forget this." I just died. I just died. I was like, that is so funny.
Right?
God fucking damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna miss the show.
Oh, me too. It's definitely gonna be one that I will watch over and over again.
Right?
I would never get sick of watching that show.
And just a little suggestion, Apple. I know you're on this weird high horse of having your own fucking exclusive content. Fucking put it on DVD for the love of God. Just so everyone can fucking witness the show.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think giving out a free subscription for 3 months is okay?
It's the way of getting
It's not
people to
enough.
join the cult. That's all it is. Everything's a cult.
I just, like secretly, like, what the fuck, Apple? Just do it. Just do it. Do it. But now, of course, I think I have to keep my Apple subscription for a little bit longer. Still gonna watch that Michael J. Fox documentary.
Oh my god, yes. You have to watch it. It's amazing.
Is it good?
The editing
All right.
alone is just incredible, and you'll know what I mean when you watch
All right.
it. So we'll have to do a discussion on that one next time.
I'll have to convince my parents to watch it. I
Okay.
mean, it's not gonna be that hard. We just have to pick a night.
Oh yeah.
And they also have, I think I've already spoke before, they have a show, Lessons in Chemistry, that's coming in October, so we're going to watch that.
Nice, yes.
But, yeah. Farewell, Ted Lasso. You were a great
Farewell,
show.
Ted Lasso, yes.
And, yeah, we're going to rewatch the motherfucking shit out of you.
Oh yeah.
Unless Apple's going to put it on DVD. You bitches, do it. Do
I
it.
guess
Do it.
To end it off, football is live.
Football is
Football
live.
is
Is beautiful.
live.
But yes, thank you so much, Cinema Peeps, for watching today's episode. If you have any thoughts on the series finale of Ted Lasso, leave it in the comments down below.
Heck yes.
And leave us a deuce if you know. And consider subscribing to Two Pretty Cool Gals. But yeah, watch all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Yeah, what you get. Yeah, that's all that you get. But heaven knows I've tried.